So let's import Frank into After Effects. I'm going to come down to File, Import, Import File. I'm going to choose Frank, and I'm going to import him as a composition with retaining layer sizes. There in my project panel are the Frankie layers. There is the Frankie composition. I'm going to double click that to open that. And before we do anything else, let's be smart and rename our layers. Now, we rename our layers in After Effects a little bit differently than we do in Illustrator or Photoshop. Normally, we would just double click a layer to rename it, but you can see that just opens up that item in its own layer window. I'm going to close that. In order to rename that layer, I need to, first of all, make sure that it's selected. I'm going to press Return on my keyboard, and you can see that field now is highlighted. I'm going to name these, and I'll speed up the video so you don't have to watch this. But just keep in mind, when you are naming, you always choose the subject's orientation to determine left and right. So I've gone through and renamed all my layers. But remember, we're not quite done. I had mentioned earlier that I wanted to put in a shadow shape that fell on the left side of his face. And I also wanted to have a corresponding highlight color on the right side, as if there was a light source that was hitting him from the top left over here. What I'm going to do is create a new shape and then add some effects to it to give it an animated grain texture. I'm going to then mask it using this face shape here. But in order to do this properly, I do need to do a small change to this layer. Currently, this is, as you can see, an Illustrator layer. All these layers have that Illustrator icon. But we know from our past experience that we can't actually change the shape of these Illustrator layers. In order for us to use this in the way I want, I'm going to need to change the layer to a vector layer by coming to the Layer drop-down menu, selecting Create, and choosing Create Shapes from Vector Layer. You can see what's happened. It's now turned off the visibility of Face Shape and replaced it with Face Shape Outlines. So I am now able to use that shape for masking this layer that I'm going to create right now. So I'm going to come to the Layer drop-down menu and select New, Shape Layer. I'm going to use from my toolbox the pen tool. And just like in Illustrator, I'm just going to click to put an anchor point down and then move a distance and click and drag to create a curved line segment. I'm going to keep on moving down my face shape here. I'm going to click and drag out another line segment, and I'm just going to finish this off by creating a shape that goes on the outside of the face shape, like so. Let's add the animated grain texture. The way we're going to do that is we're going to come to our Effects and Presets panel, and in the search field here, I want you to type in the word scatter. And I'm going to click on this scatter effect. Doesn't look like anything has happened. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here so I can see what actually is going to happen. In my Effects Controls panel over here, you can see that I have a scatter amount that's set to 0. I'm just going to drag that up. And you can see how I'm getting a textured scattered edge. Actually, I'm going to add a fair bit on this. I like that fall off of particles there. I'm going to zoom out, Command minus sign. Now, if I was to scrub with my current time indicator, though, you would see that this texture is static, and I wanted it to be animated. One of the nice things about this scatter effect is that it has this checkbox here that allows you to randomize every frame. I'm going to check that. Now, when I press my space bar, you can see that I have an animated texture. Chances are your animated texture looks a little bit more active than mine. And the reason is that I actually have a composition that has a slower frame rate than yours. What I'm going to get you to do is change your composition frame rate. If I come to the composition drop-down menu, come here to composition settings, I want you to change your frame rate, which is probably 29.97. I want you to change it to 10. From this point forward, we're going to keep all our animation frame rates at 10 frames per second. It's a very slow frame rate. I actually prefer it myself. It harkens back to the early days of limited animation out of Hanna-Barbera or the United Picture Artists, the UPA. I'm going to say OK. Now, when you play your animated texture, you'll notice that it probably looks a little less busy, a little bit just jumpy than it did before. And like that is the effect of 10 frames per second. Let's do the next thing, which is to mask it inside of this face shape here. So again, with shape layer 1 selected, I'm going to come over to my effects and presets. And again, in the search field, I'm going to search up the effect Set Matte. Again, whenever we see the word matte, we think mask. I'm going to double click this Set Matte effect while this shape is still selected. Now, it doesn't look like anything has happened, although it did look like it trimmed itself a little bit, and that's because it's using itself to mask itself. You can see it says take matte from layer. By default, it uses itself if I click on that. But you'll notice that right underneath that is face shape outlines. I'm going to use that as my mask or my matte. And there you go. You can see that my texture now exists on that left edge. If I click my spacebar to see how that looks, that's great. That's exactly what I was hoping to see. Let's do this one more time on another shape. This shape I'm going to create will be the highlight shape. And I'm going to come to my layers menu. I'm going to select new shape layer. I'm going to use my pen tool, and this time I'm going to draw in a shape that sits across the top of my face like so. And that comes down to the bottom here, and then I'm going to finish it off by rounding out the outside. Make sure that curves up like that. This color is going to be a slightly lighter version of that green. Something like that looks good. Now I need to add the scatter effect and the mask effect to this shape. However, I just did that with this other shape right here. I'll rename these in just a moment. But this shape here has both the effects that I want. Let's do this. I'm going to select the shape that I just added those effects to, and I'm going to select them here. 1, hold down the Shift button. 2, I've got them both selected. I'm going to press Command-C to copy them. Now I'm going to come back to this shape, this highlight shape that I've just created. I'm going to come back here to the Effects Controls panel and select it so that it is highlighted. When it is highlighted, I can paste those effects back into that panel. Just like that, I've now managed to add that animated texture to the other side as well, so that he has a nice little beveled effect. Okay, let's do this one more time. We're going to create a shape that is going to be the shadow behind the eye. So let's create one more shape. Come to Layer, New, Shape Layer. This time I'm just going to use the Oval tool, and I'm just going to draw out an oval while holding down the Shift button so that it becomes a perfect circle. I want this to be a rather dark version of this color. I'm going to come over to my Fill Color Swatch, click on that, and I'm just going to choose a dark version of that green. Something like that looks good. I say okay. And again, I'm going to paste the scatter and matte effect here. I'm just going to come back here to the Effects Control panel with that shape selected and hit paste. I'm just going to take this shape and I'm just going to drag it below the right eye. And I'm also going to turn off the eyelid, the right. There we go. I can see that just needs to be moved over just a little bit. I'm going to offset it just a little bit so it's not perfectly centered over the eye. Something like that looks great. Again, if I press the space bar, you can see that that grain is still animated. Great. Okay. Let's create one more of these eyeshadow shapes. In fact, I should probably rename this here. I'm just going to make sure that this layer is selected. Press Return on my keyboard, and I'm going to call this eyeshadow. And let's just duplicate that by selecting that layer and pressing Command D. Now I have 2 eyeshadow layers. The second one I'm just going to drag out over to the other side. Again, slightly offset. And let's turn off the eyelid for the left side so we can see what that looks like. Okay, it's at this point I want to start converting my layers into 3D layers. I'm going to come over here to Toggle Switches and Modes because I'm currently in my Modes view. I can see the different blending modes and the track mats. But I'm going to come here to Toggle Switches and Modes so I can see this as switches. Because what I want to be able to do from here is I want to be able to turn all these layers into 3D layers. I'm going to come to this 3D switch here and click that on for all of these layers here. And now I'm going to do a little bit of grouping together. I may in fact make some pre-comps from some of these layers. For example, the eye and pupil are something that I would like to animate together. That means I need to choose the eyelid, the right eyelid, the right pupil, holding down the Command button as I click on each of those separately, and the right eye. I'm going to turn all of those into their own composition by coming to the Layer drop-down menu and choosing Pre-compose. And I'm going to call this Eye Right. I'll say OK. Now Eye Right, if I double-click Eye Right in this composition, that will open up Eye Right in its own composition. You can see there are the layers that I turned into that composition. One thing that this does do, though, is it takes on the pixel dimensions of the original composition. Before we do anything else with this eye, I'm going to change that. We're going to take a look at this region of interest. This region of interest is really quite interesting. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to drag out an area around my eye, just giving it a little bit of space, but not too much, like so. I'm going to trim my comp to this area of interest by coming over here to the Composition drop-down menu and choosing Crop Comp to Region of Interest. So now I've got a smaller composition to animate my eye. I would like to have the eye go from looking forward to a quick glance to his right, and then a quick glance to his left, and then back to looking centered like that. Remember, we have 5 seconds for this loop to occur. What I'm going to do is at the 1 second point, I'm going to have the pupil looking forward for 1 second. But at the 1 second point, I'm going to begin the animation looking sideways. I want to draw your attention back to the original animation. You recall that the pupil changed its shape as it was moving. And we achieved that by adding a very simple effect to that shape. In order to apply that effect, though, I need to, again, make a small change to my Illustrator layer. Currently, again, you see pupil right layer is set as an Illustrator layer, but I'm going to change that to a After Effects vector layer by clicking on the layer icon, saying Create Shapes from Vector Layer. Again, pupil right has been turned off, and we have this new pupil right layer. I'm going to animate its position property. I'm going to press P on my keyboard. Again, I want it to start looking forward like this, so I'm going to put a keyframe right at the beginning of my timeline, but I don't want it to start animating until the 1 second point. So I'm just going to take that keyframe and put it at the 1 second point roughly. At this point, though, I want that pupil to start moving to the left, and I want it to do so fairly quickly. So I'm just going to drag my current time indicator a couple of frames past 1 second, about 4 frames past 1 second. At this point, I'm going to take that pupil and I'm going to drag it to the left. Now I've got 2 keyframes. Let's add some easing. I'm going to add the Easy Ease parameter here, and I'm going to click on my Motion 2 plugin panel. Just going to click on that. What we can see here is our eye moving from left to right. Now there's a little bit of overlap here. You can see the pupil overshoots the eye shape. We'll fix that in just a moment. But I mentioned that I wanted to have this shape distort a little bit as it moves. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have both those keyframes selected. And I'm going to again come back over here to my Motion 2 panel. I'll open that up a little bit more. And I'm just going to click once on this effect here, Warp. Now you can see it's definitely made some changes to the pupil, although not good changes. You can see the pupils become really quite small. You'll notice in the Effects Controls panel that we have an effect here called Warp Time. That's what's really doing the stretching out that we want to see. But there's also these 2 other effects which I'm not really sure why they're here. I'm going to get rid of them. I'm going to come here to Object Crush. I'm just going to select that, hit delete. I'm going to do the same with Edge Smoothness. I'm just going to select it and hit delete. There we go. This is what I want to see. This is the stretch out effect that I want to see. And as that pupil moves from the center over to the side, you can see it gets a little bit stretched and then settles down into its final movement. So the way we're going to get the pupil to stay within the eye white, we're going to use the Set Matte effect to mask the pupil within the eye white shape. With that layer selected, I'm going to come over to my effects and presets. I already have Set Matte selected. May need to type that in. I'm going to double click Set Matte. And for the Take Matte From layer option, I'm going to make sure that I choose Eye Right Outlines. I'm going to toggle the transparency in the background. And now when this eye moves over to the right, you can see that it stays within the eye white. Okay, let's come back to Frankie. So we see we have that eye movement. Now we want to have the eye shoot back to the other side. I'm going to come back here to eye right. Again, I'm going to reveal the keyframes. So as the eye moves over to the side, it's going to stay there for about a second. So from here to about here, I'm going to have that eye stay there. The easiest way for me to do that is just to add another keyframe by coming over to my keyframe navigator over here and just clicking on that. And now I've created a new keyframe right there that has that same value, essentially holding that pupil in place. And now I'm going to move out along my timeline just a few frames, not too far. And I'm going to position that pupil all the way to the other side of the eye. Just going to do that by taking my X value slider and dragging it until the eye is on the other side like so. You can see that we have that eye moving out like that. Now, That is a bit of a problem. The eye is moving a little bit too fast, so I'm going to actually stretch that out a little bit so that it gives it a little bit more time to cross that eye without there being, yes, so there we go. That's a little bit better. See what that looks like. Then back to the other side, yep. And then from here, from about the 4-second point to about the 4.5-second point, I'm going to get the eye to move back to the center. So again, I'm going to have it hold here just for a little bit. Again, the easiest way for me to get it to hold is to add another keyframe at that point so it maintains that position at that time. And then about the 4.5-second point, right there, I'm going to have this come back to the beginning point. The beginning was this keyframe here, so I'm just going to select it and copy it and then paste it back here. So I now have this movement. There we go. And at the 5-second point, I'm actually going to trim my comp so that it is at 5 seconds. I'm just going to bring that work area down and then set my composition to trim comp to work area. And I now have an eye that moves back and forth like so.